So we're going to do a new segment, and this is going to be called Bible Study with DemonMama. And it's going to be great because, you know, I grew up in a cult, and I was a true believer, you know? You all, those of you who've been watching my show for a while know this. I used to be a very serious Christian. This is the Holy Bible. You understand what the Holy Bible is? I can grapple this because I am a powerful force of evil, and the Bible can't hurt me anymore. It don't hurt me. This is a study Bible. As you can see, this is my Bible from childhood. I have cringy notes from all through my history. ASMR. All the notes from back when I used to read the Bible, and I've read it through many, many times. And today we're going to be talking about a very specific thing, okay? And I'm going to tell you where this came from, okay? So before we get into the Bible itself, I want to talk about what we're going to be talking about, okay? Because today's episode of Bible Study with Mama is about shoplifting. Shoplifting. Yeah, shoplifting. The Bible talks about shoplifting? Actually, you might be surprised. You might be surprised. I'll tell you, Striped Kidder, in a minute, okay? So it's funny because I was told that there was some discourse that sprouted up. I mentioned it earlier. I called it crack corn because it is a beef between actual Jake, who is the corniest corn boy who has ever existed, and Socrates Steve over there, who believes that only white people support shoplifting. Yeah. So I call this crack corn, and you can sort of figure it out what that means for yourself. Okay. And it started. I don't really care about the actual drama itself, but it provided me an interesting opportunity to talk about something, because I don't know if y'all know this, but shoplifting has gone way up in the United States, like way up, like a lot. Like there's a lot of people shoplifting right now. So it seems to me like it might be important it might be important to talk about this as a issue, a moral, ethical, political issue, because that's what it is. It is a moral, ethical, and political issue. And just so you know, here we go, okay? This was the original tweet, okay? Actual Jake tweeted this video that said live from Chicago, and it was a video of people stealing what looks like cologne. So let's watch the video and we'll see for ourselves what it's all about.
Wow. Hey, look at this.
Okay.
Insane.
Okay. All right.
Insane, yo.
Okay.
Yo, this is the middle of the Ulta right now.
It's the middle of an ulcer right now. Okay, so, oh, wow. Cool.
Look at this. Look at this. Insane, TJ. Insane.
All right. Okay. All right. So they stole some shit from an Ulta. Okay. Huh. So, a lot of people had things to say about this. And, the beef actually was not what I saw originally. Initially, I didn't see the beef between Destiny, Socrates Steve, and our good friend Cornboy. By the way, I really like Jake, just so we know, just so we're clear, just so you know my bias is clear. I think Jake's funny as fuck. I think he's 10 times funnier than Destiny, and I also think he has better politics, but that's neither here nor there. I saw actually a post that said that it was a traumatic experience and people shouldn't cheer on that because it could be a traumatic experience for the employees and the shoppers. And that was a weird take to me. A very weird take, because I have to wonder what state of the world are we in? Hey, thank you, Leah Bia. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I have to wonder what state of the world we're in where it's traumatic to see someone take something from a massive faceless corporation and why that would be considered traumatic. And the truth is, I don't think it is. I don't think anybody really feels that way. I worked in retail for a long time, and there were some traumatic things that happened while I worked in retail. I mean, one time, there was a crackhead who tried to get their kid to steal a diamond ring. And that was pretty stressful because, of course, somebody called the cops, and it was this really awkward thing. Instead of just taking the ring from the kid and telling the kid to beat it, they called the cops on the kid and the crackhead. And that's pretty fucked because the kid was screaming and crying because the cops got called on him when he was just doing what his crackhead dad told him to do. And I don't really think that was a thing for the cops because, like, the kid just picked up the ring. They could have just taken it. They could have just been like, hey, can you please give that back? And then he would have just walked away. But, you know, they got the cops involved. So, yeah, I think those things happen. But do we really think that it's traumatizing to see people stealing a bunch of products? I don't know. Anyway, I think that question, honestly, is a little bit not the main point, right? Whether or not it's traumatic, all kinds of things can be traumatic, right? There can be all kinds of traumatic things. That's not really the question we're asking. What we're asking is it okay? Is it okay to shoplift? And that's a big question, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, of course, we know where the DGG crowd came from. We know where they came. We know where they fell down on the issue. The quote retweets of this say all kinds of things like white, this is the whitest opinion. Of course, fucking white LARPers, blah, blah, blah. Same shit they always do. Yeah, they always fucking do that. It's literally all the time, okay? They fucking do that. But I have a different perspective, okay? Because I like to actually engage with the question at hand. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is by looking at very important moral texts. Now, I don't know, you know, I think there's a lot of questions about morality. There's a lot of ways you can come to moral conclusions. But interestingly, a lot of America are Christian. A lot of our laws were built on the Bible. And I don't mean that like the Republicans mean that, where they go, America's a Christian nation. I mean that that's literally what happened. Christians who were in positions of power imposed their morality through our laws. And interestingly, they're very, very selective. I just find it very odd when lefties, supposed lefties, progressives, whatever, liberals even, or libertarians, people who consider themselves libertarian in their views, and their conclusion is, shoplifting is bad. So I wanted to get a different perspective on this. And I want you to know, I have my own views on the subject, but for right now, we're doing a reading of the Bible. We're going to listen to the holy book of the majority of the United States and see what it has to say about stuff like theft. Shall we? Shall we do that? How does that sound, huh? How does it sound to have a demon teach you the Bible? I won't lick it because there's probably dust on it, huh? How's that sound? To Proverbs 6, verse 30, okay? Proverbs 6, verse 30. Come with me now, okay? You can look it up on your computers, or if you have a Bible on hand, you can open it up, okay? I know some of us do. And we're going to read it in 4 different versions, just so you know that I'm not over-interpreting this, okay? All right. Are we ready? Ooh, that's a nice orange light. All right, here we go. Proverbs 6, verse 30. This is the King James. This Bible that you're looking at is a multi-version Bible. There are 4 separate comparable versions with footnotes in this Bible. So it's a legit thing. There's a reason why I got notes all over it. Okay? Here we go. Listen up, everybody. Proverbs 6:30. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. So let's hear another one, okay? Here we go. Let's listen to another version. 30. Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is hungry. But if he is found out, he must restore 7 times what he stole. He must give the whole substance of his house, if necessary, to meet the fine. Let's try again. Verse 30, once again. Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is hungry. But if he is found, he must repay 7-fold. He must give all the substance of his house. And the next one is pretty awesome as well. This is in the New International Version, the modern translation. Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he is starving. Yet if he is caught, he must pay sevenfold, though it costs him all the wealth in his house. Weird how that goes, isn't it? Men do not despise a thief when he steals because he is hungry. But when he's caught, he is punished. Isn't that weird? Almost like in Proverbs, the greatest wise man of the entire, or the writings of the greatest wise man in the history of Christian literature and thought, actually said that stealing is okay if you're starving, and pointed out the absurdity with which we will punish someone. If he is caught, a guy who nobody will despise, nobody would, I mean, come on, we all know, if you're hungry, you're hungry. You're going to eat. You're going to eat what you can find. Your body makes you. Your body makes you. So no man, including, mind you, no man, in that verse, he is including himself, does not despise a thief who steals to satisfy his own hunger. And yet if he's caught, we punish him for all of the wealth he has. Isn't that a bit interesting? The word, the infallible word of God, points out that we have no reason to punish someone who is starving, and yet we do. Why? That's so strange, isn't it? And I saw a lot of, you know what it kind of sounds like? It kind of sounds like he's telling you to not be a motherfucking snitch. Isn't that what it kind of sounds like? Doesn't it kind of sound like fucking from 4,000 years ago or whenever? I don't actually know how long ago Solomon lived. I think it was like, more like 3,000 or something. From like 3,000 years ago, doesn't that say, don't fucking snitch? Because nobody cares if they're starving. If that person is starving and they eat, but if you give them over to the authorities, they will make them pay 7-fold what was stolen, even though he stole it to feed himself. Even though he was hungry and needed it, and the body that God made for him, we punish him. The law punishes him. Yet God said, don't get fucking caught. But what does that say about the moral? What is the moral prescription there, right? Because the Bible talks about morality, not just law. And this verse is pretty clearly juxtaposing that nobody, no man, not even the most just man in the entire world would begrudge or despise or hate someone for stealing what they need to survive. But if you tattle on them, they're going to get ruined. Isn't that fucking terrible? God said unto them, zip up. Isn't that interesting to me? I find it funny when a bunch of people who call themselves leftists and liberals go on and post and go, oh, this is so terrible. It's disgusting. The whitest response ever is to say based. Is to say, why the fuck are you filming those people? And it's true. Maybe those thieves, maybe they weren't starving. But a lot of people in America are. Have you looked at the state of America? Oh, and guess what? We don't live in ancient times anymore, just so you know. Like, we don't live in a time where people like steal food directly. People, you need money. So people buy luxury items that have no use, that sit on shelves, like perfumes, which was what was being stolen here, and they sell them for money so they can buy food, so they can buy medicine. We know the situation. I don't need to wax lyrical about the state of healthcare in the United States. We all know it. Every streamer in this space, every liberal has talked about this. The most stolen items, yes, indeed. The most stolen items are baby formula and diapers. Which they lock up. And if you go to any modern grocery store, they lock up razors too. Weird. Razors are one of the cheapest things to produce. And contraceptives. Weird how that works. Weird how the things that they lock up is the shit that people need. The razors so they don't have scraggly hair. The feminine hygiene products which get locked up now. Weird, huh? Weird. So I find it very funny that while the God of the Bible, whose infallible holy word made it all the way to us, thanks to the Christian church, that pillar of progressiveness that we all love. We all know the Christians are so progressive and libertarian, aren't they? But even in their holy book, they say, don't fucking stick your nose out of the business. Get your fucking nose out of their motherfucking business, because nobody cares if they're stealing something to survive. So don't take it from me. I'm not saying that shoplifting is good. I'm not saying that shoplifting is a morally neutral act that depends largely on the context of your life, and that view people who see shoplifting and use their camera to help those people get caught and potentially ruined are bad people. God is. The God of the Bible, the God of the Christian Bible, which I don't know about you, but a lot of fucking people seem to think that's their moral standard. And the fucking libertarian liberals, lefties on the internet who are supposed to be the champions sit there and line up and go, guys, come on, it's so bad. It's bad optics. It's so bad when those people in the midst of a 2-year-long plague steal some luxury items from a corporate store. They should be punished. And this is what I was talking about, by the way, when I said Americans have weak souls. This is what I was talking about, by the way. Is that Americans are so cowed by authority. They are so authoritarian that they become free cops. They become cops for free. They film people. They help the cops catch people who haven't done anyone any harm. Isn't that fucked? Isn't that really weird? But hey, God has an answer. God says, nobody cares if you steal food to live, but if the authorities catch you, they're going to make you hurt. And if I was to, squeeze my brain juices, that sounds like Solomon is telling you to zip the fuck up. None of your business. So if you think that's a white take, you take it up with God. Go ahead and call fucking God white, okay? Take it up with God, okay? But honestly, let's move away from God for a minute, okay? That's on God. That's on God, okay? Let's move away from God for a second. Yes, exactly, Silent. Yeah, exactly. Solomon was known for implying what he means rather than stating it plainly. Yeah, he was a wise man. He made people think for themselves. Yeah. God isn't white? I don't know. Is he white? I don't think so. I don't think he can be. He made all the races, right? Yes, cracker energy. True. True. Cracker energy. True. But let's move away from God for a second, okay? Let's move into the realm of non-God, okay? Because now we know that God endorses shoplifting if you're hungry. If you're hungry by capitalist standards, which isn't just literal hunger, but could mean that you can't get the medication you need to live because who knows? You can't get the diapers you need. So God says that's cool. God seems fine. But let's talk about other things, right? Yeah, based. Solomon was also a polygamist. Based. Thomas Aquinas also said shoplifting was okay, but he said that you should probably pay back whatever you took in your time of need once you're able to do so. Sure. When do you think it's okay for someone to call the cops on something? When someone is in danger? Well, here's the problem. The problem is that the cops usually make it more dangerous. I'm sorry, but that's just true, especially these days. Do you want to know the number one demographic that's not vaccinated in the United States? Cops. You are literally inviting disease spreaders into your midst by calling the cops. Now, I think there are some circumstances where you don't have any choice. You know? If there's like a fucking dude running around with a gun, you might not have any choice. Yeah? Yeah, they are. They are, 85 to 2D Derek. But isn't it funny that, like, all of these people, all of these political influencers who come out of the woodwork to denounce some people stealing some luxury items from a fucking Ulta, which makes billions upon billions of dollars in profit every year, that these people are coming out and going, well, it's so white to have the opinion that shoplifting isn't necessarily bad. Isn't it weird? Aren't these guys all the ones who do like illicit drugs on every occasion that they possibly can? Like, what the fuck are these? Where are these people's standpoint coming from? Oh, don't hurt the property. Ooh. Come on. This is so sad. So let's talk about other potential interpretations, okay? Because I like to get deep into the nitty-gritty when we do this. And we're not just doing... Bible Mama isn't just going to be little quips. We're going to talk about stuff, okay? So does anybody in the chat, all you in the chat, who can think of a potential problem with shoplifting? Okay? Come on, give me some ideas. Somebody give me an idea of what could be a problem with shoplifting. A moral problem. Mom and pop stores. Okay, there's a good one. If everyone did it, it would be chaos. Okay, maybe. Mom and pop store. Takes away from small businesses. Affects a mom and pop corporations. Okay, small businesses. Hurts an ethical small business that does good. Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. Comes out of workers' paychecks. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me write these down, and we'll address these one by one, because I think this is really interesting. I think this is really, really interesting stuff, and I like to go through this. So, mom and pop. We got mom and pop. We got worker paychecks. Cuts into bonuses. Hey, thank you so much. Thrift stores. All right. Could get workers laid off? Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. That's enough. That's enough for now. Now listen up. Let's address these one by one. Okay? Okay. Mom and pop shops. Well, first of all, we weren't talking about mom and pop shops. Second of all, mom and pop shops don't have the biggest problem with shoplifting. And you want to know why? Because the thing about a mom and pop shop is that most of the time, the people who are doing the shoplifting know the owners of the mom and pop shop. And you're a lot less likely to want to fuck over somebody who's a member of your actual community. And also, mom and pop shops don't tend to stock luxury items that can be sold so that you can pay your bills. Mom and pop shop, now there's some, of course. There are some. And I'm sure there are some theft that they deal with. But mom and pop shops still have insurance. Ulta has a net income of $400 million per year. So that's a potential issue. You could say that shoplifting from a mom and pop shop. Mom and pop shop, stop getting scared. Yeah, I keep saying mom and pop shop, but that's okay. I'm going to keep saying it. The iPhone, the mom and pop shop of iPhones, okay? Oh God, insurance doesn't solve everything. Yeah, but hold on. Here's what we're talking about. Mom and pop shops usually know their customer base, with a few exceptions. And also, mom and pop shops still have insurance. They get to still claim shrink. Now, is it possible that a store could get hit so hard that they go out of business? Yeah, that's true. But just so you know, if your mom and pop shop is only pulling in like a profit of like $400 a month, that's not because of theft. And if you look at the statistics for like theft, tell them about the 10% of merchandise.
Yeah, that they cut, that grocery stores
Yeah.
and stuff cut.
Yeah, exactly. Most stores have okay, so let me tell you about something from working in retail. Even in mom and pop shops, every month there is a piece of the budget that goes to shrink. Shrink being damaged, stolen, lost goods. And that's budgeted for every month, even in mom and pop shops, which doesn't mean that necessarily mom and pop shops could be hit or should be hit. But I think that it's not as clear cut as people say. But I will agree that if you're hitting mom and pop shops, you're probably punishing somebody who's really going to feel it and who isn't actually contributing to your situation. Whereas that is not possible to be said about corporations, especially corporations like Walmart or Best Buy or any of these other ones. I don't have a merch store yet, but I will someday. We're working on it. Ulta in class action lawsuits for stealing wages, selling used and returned products. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, by the way, just so you know, the most form of theft comes from corporate wage theft, break violations that are never taken care of. And I know this firsthand. So I think there's something to be said about criticizing people who rob mom and pop shops. Though, it also depends, right? Who did it? Why? Is it really going to hurt them? Even if you have a mom and pop shop that sells like iPhones or something, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a mom and pop shop. But let's say you have one that sells phones and somebody steals a phone. Are they going to go under because of a stolen phone? Are they going to go under because of a couple stolen phones? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. But that person might get evicted, which means them and their family might go without food. And so at the end of the day, it's none of your fucking business. Even with the mom and pop shop. Because you don't know what the fuck's going on. Isn't it? What about if shoplifting increases assaults? Thieves don't always steal peacefully. Well, that's not shoplifting anymore. That's armed robbery. We're not talking about armed robbery. We're not talking about armed robbery, are we? But keep in mind, there's barely any mom and pop stores left in the U.S. Not a lot of mom and pop shops. And again, they tend to be locally owned. They tend to be not the targets of most of this stuff. Most of the ire goes towards big box stores. Big box stores which write off automatically every month. They budget millions of dollars in loss from stuff they throw away. Stores that literally destroy products so that people can't have them, so they can keep selling them. Y'all ever heard what GameStop got in trouble with? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen what GameStop got in trouble for doing? For slicing pieces of, for cutting the cables and smashing vintage gaming hardware? Yeah, they did that all the time. All the time. They destroy gaming all the time. In fact, there's whole threads of it that you can go look up on Reddit of people posting pictures of the dumpster behind their GameStop full of intentionally destroyed gaming pieces.
Vintage stuff.
Yeah, sometimes vintage stuff. Like people have found like fucking Robs in there. Like, you know, the robot? Whoops. Lots of stores do that. There is a lot of it. You want to know what else happens? Let me talk about another example of this. So this is a story from my from my own history. Long before I started streaming, when I was real poor, I used to live near a 7-Eleven. And every day at about 10:30 a.m., they would throw away literal pounds of breakfast sandwiches every single day. Just fresh food, and it was store policy because they sell that shit for so much and they pay so little for it that they would grab it and just throw it away because that's what corporate told them to do. This happens at 7-Elevens, still wrapped. Yes, literally still wrapped. And it's funny because I knew the people there. And you know what they did instead? They weren't supposed to. They could get fired for this because that's how these corporations work. They would give us the food. Instead of throwing it into a garbage bag, they would put it into a bag because they knew that we would come over and we would get the food. Fresh food, baked that morning, but after 10:30, they throw the breakfast away. And that literally fed us because we were struggling at that time because of a lot of shit that happened. This happens, yeah, there's videos of it up on TikTok right now. There's a big trend of people filming it happening. If you give it away, they won't buy it. That's ridiculous, though. Of course people will buy it. Of course people will buy it when it's fresh. Hippie Punk says, I work in a grocery store deli. I have pictures of some of our waste stream out of the store. We throw out literally tens of thousands in merchandise due to damage, quote unquote. It's sickening. And we have volunteered to give it to the homeless, and we're threatened with termination and reminded of the cameras. Yes, it's weird. They criminalize giving away food that isn't spoiled, products that aren't bad, just because we have a consumer economy. So let me ask you this. What if a mom and pop shop throws away all of their donuts at 10:30 because that's the way that they avoid any lawsuits over food quality? Yeah? What if somebody goes in and steals a whole bunch of those donuts, knowing that every day they throw a whole bunch of them out? Did they do anything wrong? Did they do anything wrong? Hard question, isn't it? Well, we know what God would say. We know what the Bible would say. I wonder what a lot of the liberals on Twitter would say. I wonder what a lot of my my liberal co-streamers would say about it. So let's talk about another one. Could it cut into worker paychecks? Well, there's an easy answer to this. If theft is cutting into worker paychecks, that's a problem with the company. There is literally no way, and no rational company should ever put shrink or theft as collective punishment on their employees. That goes for the bonuses. That goes for the worker paychecks. All actions of negatively affecting the workers goes on the hands of the corporation, because those workers aren't hired to be, I mean, some of them might be hired for security guards, and okay, whatever. But imagine collectively punishing your employees because of socioeconomic issues in the area your store happens to be located in. Isn't that messed up? I would say that no self-respecting lefty or even self-respecting liberal should ever support the idea that the workers should be collectively punished by the corporation because of socioeconomic conditions not under their control. To me, that seems like actually just unethical, like unbelievably. Ampy76 says, dumpster diving is criminalized on a lot of properties for no reason. They're literally just taking food and things they can sell, but people prefer it to go to the landfill. You want to know? People don't prefer it to go to the landfill. Corporations prefer it to go to the landfill. Because if corporations can send things like that to the landfill, they can maintain the idea that we should have to pay for everything at all times, no matter what. You actually, Eddie says, I'm guessing your old work charged a guy for breaking and entering, getting into a compost bin. $10K and 3 years in prison. Disgusting. That is disgusting. I would say that is genuinely a moral travesty. The idea that somebody could break into a place and go into your compost bin and then they get charged $10,000 and go to prison for 3 years, fucking sick. It's sick. It's the sign of a sick society. That's what I would say about that. So we've nailed down 2 of those. Let's talk about thrift stores. In general, here's the thing. Thrift stores are, not all of them, by the way, just so you know, there are a lot of thrift stores that are not charities. Value Village is not a charity. Value Village is a for-profit thrift store. They take donations of people's unwanted stuff and they resell it for a profit. So that's not true about all thrift stores. There's a lot of thrift stores that are just for profit. But if we're talking about Goodwills and stuff like that, I think you could make a solid argument that like robbing a Goodwill, or not robbing a Goodwill, shoplifting from a Goodwill is probably not the nicest thing to do. I don't think it's going to hurt them, because keep in mind, they get their stuff for free and they sell it so that it goes back into their charity. And their charity, I don't know if you all know this, Goodwill's charity is an employment charity. Goodwill is a charity that employs people with learning disabilities, employs people with, people who've been in prison and might not be able to get a job elsewhere, people with physical disabilities, stuff like that. That's what Goodwill does. And Goodwill has a lot of trouble, okay? They have a lot of trouble. There's a lot of issues with it. But they are a charity. And Salvation Army is monstrous. Salvation Army is terrible. What about people taking from the dono pile? What could possibly be wrong with that? I really wonder. I want to know what the problem would be, because I've struggled to find an answer for that.
My family did that when they were extremely poor before I was born.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I wonder, because they're being donated anyway, right? They're being donated, and then Goodwill is the one who's opening the bin. But if you take it before they put a price on it, are you really stealing anything at all? They're still getting tons of other donations. I don't know. I feel like I would come down on the side of somebody who really needs that shit, taking that shit, over Goodwill. Because Goodwill, at the end of the day, is trying to fund their organization, which has its own goals and whatnot. If somebody donated that shit, if they functionally threw it out, I don't know. I think it's pretty hard to morally condemn that. So it's interesting, you know? See, this is an interesting conversation. And of course, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of I don't know. Isn't it weird though? Like, there was so much. I showed you that tweet. There was all kinds of people fucking freaking out over this. Like 21 quote retweets. On the original video, this thing has 704 quote retweets. Look at this shit. Oh my God, look at this. The retweet here, further proof that BLM and Antifa are terror groups. That's what spawned this. It didn't just drop from the sky. Oh my God. Congrats to the DNC, AOC, Joe Biden. This is just racism. This is just raw racism. Oh my God, just raw racism.
Yeah.
Look at that. Whatever happened to accountability?
Oh man. You should mention the
This is BLM.
thing where the Indians and like people from India, what was it? Indian Americans and African Americans being racist to each other on Twitter.
No. Fuck that. That was too long ago. I can't even find that.
But that was fucking absolutely crazy.
Well, just another day in Democrat Lori Lightfoot's Chicago. We can literally just walk in and take anything we want, but I'm still going to work every day. What a fucking scam. True, dude! Dude, you're so close! You're so fucking close! Hey, DemonMama, thanks for talking about this. And you know what's the worst part about the shoplifting segment for me? I'm someone who has vested interest in actually taking climate change collapse seriously, and the waste the global north produces boils my blood. You're only looking at the socioeconomic, but everything corporations produce to make more profit each year increases our emissions and makes it much harder to actually address the existential problem we are all facing. Yeah, we didn't even address that. We didn't even motherfucking address that. Like, guys, these corporations right now, like Ulta, fucking Walmart, Target, fucking Pepsi, Coke, these giant companies are currently lobbying to ensure that you die from climate change. I just hope you know that. I hope you fucking know that. let's not say we're saving the planet by stealing. Nobody said that we're saving the planet by stealing. But I have a question. I have a genuine question I want people to think about real quick. Okay? Hold on. Let's think about this. If there's a good that ends up on your shelf that's going to get thrown away, and it is the product of a massive chain of exploitation that you cannot alone possibly address because you have been built into a cage. You have to work for the corporation. You have to do this. And you're starving and dying. And everybody's starving and dying. Lots of people are starving and dying. And it's looking like it's only going to get worse. What are your options? What options do we really have? Yeah, we found the snitch in chat for sure. They've been lying about this shit. These corporations have been, as a matter of public record, lying about this shit for 50 years. And our planet is barreling into ecological collapse. And by the way, I talked about this before I left, and we're going to talk about it a lot more. We're going to talk about the environment a lot on this stream. But I got to say, shit's pretty dire. And I don't think that people stealing from a massive corporation that has essentially taken over the entire retail space of America and systematically crushed every other business and every other way of doing things under its fucking heel, deliberately, mathematically. I don't know. I don't really think it's that big of a moral issue, you know? I just don't. And I don't think God does either. Solomon certainly doesn't. Huh. Weird. Weird how that works, huh? So yeah. Let's conclude DemonMama's Bible study with DemonMama, with a little prayer, shall we? Shall we pray together? Shall we pray together a prayer from hell? Here we go. Devil bless the queers. Devil bless
Thanks for the grub.
the... Let me start again. The devil bless the queers. The devil bless the criminals, the forgotten, the prisoners. The underworld. Bless. That's all. Amen and ANB.